A local pastor is leaving Lloydminster after 13 years with the First Baptist Church. He spent his time building relationships in the religious community, but as Jeremy Thompson reports, his presence has also had an impact on the ice.
Mark Breitkreitz and his colleagues are putting the final touches on the Christmas Eve service. This will be his last Christmas in Lloydminster before he follows his calling to Edmonton. After 13 years in Lloyd, Breitkreitz is leaving behind more than just his congregation.
I started with the Bobcats 8 years ago, and it was just in a chaplaincy role where basically we meet together here at the church one Monday night a month. This came about a number of years ago, going back about 3 or 4 coaches. I approached them, and they were good with that, and we started the ball rolling.
Breitkreitz says the sessions give players a break from their regular schedule, and some are apprehensive about discussing spirituality.
When they first come in September, it's maybe a little bit strange for them, but even within that first hour, they're like, okay, I get this, and this isn't so bad.
For the younger guys, I think it's good, though, to go in there and you learn something new whenever you go there.
Bobcats assistant captain Taylor Mulder has been going for the past 2 years.
Just a different spin on things. You got to go in there and you kind of have a different outlook at what we're not normally used to doing.
I think another spin-off that's been neat for me and was a pleasant surprise was just to see how it goes beyond the guys and just to recognize the beauty of that hockey family and that connection and how interrelated it is with the city, and that's been of tremendous value.
It's clear that Breitkreitz has had a significant influence over the years. The Bobcats even presented him with a personal jersey.
Comes to the games all the time, talks hockey to us. He even comes to the games, comes in the room sometimes and says hi to us after the game or before the game. He's just a great guy.
I'm grateful to them for that opportunity and have appreciated the friendships and relationships that have been built there over the years, and it's something that I'll take with me for sure.
Jeremy Thompson, Newcap News.
It was an exciting time in the Alberta legislature this year. With a change in leadership and eventual cabinet shuffle, a lot of MLAs saw their roles change. Bart Podjasic sat down with Richard Starkey as he got his take on how the new Alberta Premier Jim Prentice has done in a short time in power.
It's been a whirlwind, and I will say that as Premier, Premier Prentice has really brought a new sort of air of competence and confidence to the Premier's office. Very decisive in the moves that he's made. In that first week after being sworn in, made a number of decisions that, a lot of people were saying, well, those were obvious. Well, perhaps they were, but he made those decisions, and he's continued on making, decisions that are sometimes not, the easy ones to make. And I will tell you, heading into this year's budget, some of the decisions we're going to have to make are by no means easy decisions. And it's good to have someone with his experience and his breadth and depth of past service, both in the private and the public sector, as our Premier. And certainly I'm looking forward to 2015.
And what do you think of his changes to the cabinet this year?
Well, throughout the leadership, he indicated that cabinet needed to be smaller and that cabinet needed to have some new faces. And certainly he delivered that, bringing in Minister Mandel and Minister Dirks. And, some of us, that meant some of us had to take a step back and step out of cabinet, and he asked me to do that as well. And, that's something you have to accept. You have to, be a team player. And, really I'm quite excited about the job that he's given me to do with regards to the rural healthcare review. This is extremely important to Albertans and to rural Albertans, and I've had that chance now for the last 3 months or so to engage with Albertans in the rural areas, and it's a big project, but it's also very exciting for the potential that it has.
And speaking about healthcare, Lloydminster, this is a city that knows a lot about it. We've had a lot of people have issues about it, people complaining about long wait times, need for more bed. Now the government has stepped in over the last couple of years, and finally there are some changes that are happening, but when will people finally start seeing changes on the ground floor?
Well, the big change or the big move forward this year, of course, was the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Alberta and Saskatchewan, which, for the first time in nearly 20 years, updated the relationship between the two provinces and how healthcare is delivered, not just for the residents of Lloydminster, but for the surrounding area. And, it was a recognition that Lloydminster is a service centre that serves both provinces. That was an very important document, and now moving forward, we have the steering committee which will be able to address specific issues. There was an additional infusion of budgetary funds, both for an OR, for the primary care clinic at the Co-op Center, and additional funding for home care. You know, these are all very important funding announcements, and you know, we recognize that there has been, in the past at least, some call it shortchanging, whatever you want to call it, you know, where Lloydminster, just simply because of the way measurements were taken, Lloydminster perhaps wasn't getting the kind of funding from the two provinces that really the population deserved. And that's going to be addressed, or that has already been started to be addressed. And almost as important as that is we now have a mechanism going forward to address new issues as they come up.